if you would have grown a huge mega team, and there are plenty of folks that do that, and it works great. But if you were to grown that 100 plus million, ton of transactions, versus you end up going the revenue share route, which is what EXP offers, growing a team. Like, what are the differences between a production team, Pat Hayes Group, and a revenue share team, which you have?
In honesty, as a team leader, there comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of babysitting, as I call it. You're the one that's actually out there spending all the money, generating all the leads. The agents don't really have a vested interest, in the leads, because I'm the team leader. I'm the one that's responsible for spending money on the leads. And so, I found it kind of difficult, really trying to scale and grow a real estate production team, just because of a lot of the headaches in the background. A lot of the babysitting, a lot of the agents, obviously they're not W-2 employees, they're 1099 employees. And so they don't have a base salary with, commissions and bonuses. That's not the structure that I had. And so they're really just, kind of working, as they please. And so it got a little frustrating, whenever I was the one that had the big goals and spending all the money on generating all the leads. And, some of these agents just didn't really take it so serious, not as serious as I was. And so I was really trying to, scale that. I had met some other team leaders that had already done that. And I was kind of following, their pace as well. They had hit, over $100 million a year in production, their fourth or fifth or sixth year as a team leader. But, they did say, hey, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of headaches, a lot of babysitting. A lot of agents that they had to get rid of. They fired a lot of agents and they hired a lot of agents, and they did the disc profile to figure out the best hire and who they wanted as their team leader, or who they wanted as their their head buyer's agent or their head listing agent. So there's a lot of different ways to scale a team. But I found it very difficult back in 2015, 2016 to really scale a large real estate production team.
Yeah, it's not easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it, and the folks that do, they're rewarded very well. But you're a serial entrepreneur.
Yep.
Entrepreneurs, business owners look for leverage. That's where investments come in, and starting businesses. You found a very unique one with EXP through the revenue share plan to build a team that's different from the production team, but instead build a team that grows back exponentially without your work, almost like rental properties, but even better. Kind of explain how that has worked for you, and the benefits that you've seen over the past few years with the revenue share team.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a game changer ever since. Ever since I saw EXP in December of 2015, I saw that they had a beautiful revenue share model where you can attract agents to the EXP model and get compensated very handsomely for it, for helping grow a organization that you're a shareholder of, right? And so we're a publicly traded company, and I saw the opportunity that EXP had to offer, and I ran with it. So fast forward, I've been able to personally sponsor 50 agents to the organization, and out of those 50 agents, it's grown into 4,118 agents as of just a little bit ago, spanning the 47 states, 5 Canadian provinces, and 10 countries. Paying me 6 figures a month in revenue share. And, my whole organization closed over 1,200 houses just alone last month. And so it's a fun, different way to scale a massive team. And, I'm not responsible for, the agents. I'm not responsible for generating the leads. I still have my small production team here in San Antonio, the Pat Hayes Group. But I love growing a revenue share organization, and I love growing in a company that I'm a shareholder of. And my organization is actually growing by about over 230 agents are joining my revenue share organization every single month. So that is leverage right there. I can't go do that anywhere else other than EXP. So it's been a lot of fun.
I love it. And I'm also blessed to be a part of that.
Yes.
So you have your core production team, and you're able to now have that at a level that's fun and enjoyable for you. It's not stressful and hard work. I mean, things happen, but for the most part, you're selling houses when and how you want to.
That's
and you're just pouring into thousands and thousands of agents to help them grow their business and ultimately achieve the success that you have with your revenue share team. So that's it's amazing.